Been some interesting quotes from some of the hierarchy at Red Bull recently when it comes to Sergio Perez. Now, for me, Perez at the Hungarian Grand Prix, he had a good Sunday. He just had an abysmal Saturday where he crashed in qualifying, went out, qualified near the back of the grid, and I think he did a good job after that. You know, he did a good job to get to, what was it, 7th place by the end. He managed to, you know, compete and stay ahead, I believe, of his of the other competitor down there that made it through the pack as well, George Russell, who also had a poor qualifying session. There's been some interesting quotes really when it comes to, you know, his future and everything, and something that Dr. Helmut Marko said. Marko's always great for some good quotes, and to be honest with you, I agree with what he's saying, but the fact that he's saying this is very worrying for Perez. He's basically gone out in the media and said that if Perez changes teams, if he leaves Red Bull and goes somewhere else, he'll be a success, which I agree with. I think he would do a lot better if he was at a team before. For me, there's certain kinds of drivers that thrive in certain situations. There's some that thrive in pretty much all of them. The true greats, you know, the Alonsos, the Hamiltons, the Verstappens of this world, you know, they thrive in whatever team environment they're going to be in. Perez seems to do best when he's in a midfield car and is able to overperform to get podiums and the odd win, like he was at Force India and Racing Point, where he did so well for so many years with them, and even Sauber in his early career as well. Being in Red Bull, because of the pressure, because of having Verstappen as a teammate, because of the standards that, you know, have to be reached, he seems to be really struggling. He seems to be really struggling as a result. But let me just read out this article here on the F1Chronicle.com. Full article link in the description as always, guys, if you want to check it out. It'll go into far more detail than I can during this 5-minute video, but it says the following. Sergio Perez's immediate future at Red Bull is still on shaky ground despite a solid recovery drive in Hungary following his Q1 crash. After the crash, the latest in a series of mistakes and poor performances for the Mexican, particularly in qualifying, the patience of bosses Christian Horner and Dr. Helmut Marko have appeared to run out. Marko has said the following, saying, Perez had a very good race. The strategy worked well, but we are sticking to our previous approach. What that approach is, we don't know. On Monday after Spa, I will fly to England and discuss the procedure with Horner. Then we will see together what we are going to do. That sounds incredibly ominous. That sounds like he's being demoted to RB or sacked outright from the Red Bull organisation. Now, the thing is with Red Bull is that if you are contracted to Red Bull, you are contracted to Red Bull Racing as a whole. So it's not just the senior team, but also the junior team. So in theory, they could, unless there's something in the contract that we don't know about, in theory they could demote him down to VCARB and replace him with Ricciardo or Tsunoda or Lawson even, because he's a Red Bull contracted driver as well, just a junior one without a Formula 1 seat. Yeah, so it sounds very ominous to say the least. But some people are supporting him. You know, we got P7 from a P16 start, which is impressive. Guido van der Garde, who used to be a Formula 1 driver in 2013 for Caterham, top of my head. He did well, according to him. He actually drove pretty good, so he told Viaplay. In terms of pace, he was doing so well. Good overtaking manoeuvres too. We know that he is even under more pressure now, but he has to show that he can score points. If he does that again next weekend, he will at least go into the summer break well enough to maybe finish the rest of the season. So yeah, it's an interesting one there. Apparently there is this clause still in the contract that denied that is there about if he's got 100 points or more behind the summer break, Red Bull can just break the contract off. Even though he is signed on until 2026, they can do that and presumably not give him compensation for those 2 years. So it's looking ominous. And the thing is as well, because of that clause, if it exists, Perez will go into the summer break no matter what over 100 points behind Verstappen. He cannot get over 100 points with him during the Spa weekend that's coming up. So yeah, a stressful Spa break for Perez, but hopefully he can perform. It's a track that he's got some good results at over the years, where Racing Point and Force India have looked very powerful and good over the years. But Red Bull right now, they are suffering. They're not doing too well, and I go into why as well in a similar video that'll be out very shortly, if it's not out already, about Adrian Newey's influence on the team, because he's leaving, of course, at the end of the season. So yeah, guys, let us know what you think about it in the comments below. Is Perez going to stay on for the rest of the season and beyond? Let us know in the comments below. And of course, for much more Formula 1 content, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Ring that bell as well while you're at it. And yeah, keep it tuned to the F1 Chronicle for much more content like this.